Against the Ice is the tense historical tale of two Arctic explorers, Ejnar Mikkelsen and Ivar Iversen, who must survive the sub-zero conditions of Greenland as they seek the discoveries of an earlier expedition. Based on the book Two Against the Ice by Ejnar Mikkelsen himself, this remarkable story of survival in the early 20th century might seem like it was dreamt up for a movie. In fact, director Peter Flint first read the book when it was given to him by Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, who thought it would make a beautiful film. But it is an account of real history, and the resulting drama sticks close to the events of Mikkelsen and Iversen's journey as they happened. Here's the true story behind Against the Ice. Let's start with the Denmark expedition, which is mentioned throughout the film as the reason that Mikkelsen and Iversen make their initial excursion.
This is why we're here, boys.
Without these findings, the north of Greenland could be lost, claimed by the Americans.
In the events that happened before Against the Ice begins, the Denmark expedition saw a crew led by Ludvig Mylius Eriksen set out to map the last parts of northeast Greenland. At the time of their journey, which took place between 1906 and 1908, it was believed that a lake called the Peary Channel cut Greenland in two. Mylius Eriksen formed a smaller team composed of cartographer Niels Peter Høegh Hagen and native Greenlander Jørgen Brønlund to investigate whether or not the Peary Channel actually existed.
Why don't any of you want to go with him?
You saw the map. I mean, it's like walking from Moscow to Rome looking for a stack of stones.
During that journey, the trio ran into various hardships, such as mild weather melting the ice they would need to cross to get back to their ship, and eventually all three succumbed to the extreme conditions they faced. Brønlund's body was discovered in a makeshift cave, which the film alludes to in one scene, while the bodies of Mylius Eriksen and Høegh Hagen were never found.
You never think you can't make it. You always believe there'll be a way.
However, the Denmark expedition proved the Peary Channel didn't exist and left information of their discovery in a cairn. As we hear early on in the film,
What's a cairn?
Cairn's a stack of stones you can see from far away.
explorers often use these to store messages and reports for others. More importantly, it provided a way for their discovery to be passed on to other explorers. This is where the heroes of Against the Ice come in. The mystery of the Denmark expedition's fate gripped explorers of the time, including Ejnar Mikkelsen, played in the film by Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. Mikkelsen was commissioned to lead a search to find Mylius Eriksen and his research. He put together a small crew, seen briefly in the film, and set off in the ship the Alabama on the 20th of June 1909. However, what we don't see in the film is how Mikkelsen came to be commissioned for this trip. The sailor was originally approached by Lord Northcliffe, the owner of the Daily Mail at the time, and proposed that he fund a trip for Mikkelsen to find the dead man's papers. In return, anything he found would be published in the newspaper. Mikkelsen liked the sound of the offer, however revealed in his book that he felt, "As a Dane, I did not like the idea of an Englishman paying for the expedition and of his money acquiring the rights to what 3 Danes had given their lives to achieve." Mikkelsen went back to Denmark and approached the committee who first commissioned the Denmark expedition about leading a mission to retrieve the missing papers. They agreed to pay half the cost of the trip, with Mikkelsen funding the rest. The crew traveled to where Brønlund's body was discovered, and in the spring of 1910, Mikkelsen and the crew's engineer, Ivar Iversen, played by Joe Cole, set out to see if they could find the cairn that Brønlund's notes alluded to. The perilous journey to find the cairn is based on the first-hand accounts Mikkelsen wrote in his book, as is the even harder journey they had to make back.
This is what happened to Mylius Eriksen, isn't it?
Another part of the return journey that the film alludes to is the men's struggle for food.
On my calculations, I've lost us 2 weeks' worth of dog food. I've lost us half our tea and 1 can of paraffin.
While we see the pair having to rely on eating some rather foul things, the book reveals that they even resorted to eating mold. As Iversen is claimed to have said, "You said we need vegetables. Isn't mold also a kind of vegetable?" To be clear, it is not. Despite having to trek back on foot and without supplies, their ordeal was far from over. When they arrived back at their camp in November 1910, they discovered that the crew had abandoned them, just like in the film, leaving them only with a small wooden hut made from their ship the Alabama hence why it's dubbed Alabama Cottage in the film and Alabama Huset in real life, and supplies to last him through the winter.
They left us! No! No! No!
Amazingly, Mikkelsen and Iversen survived in this small cabin, having to fend off physical dangers such as an attack from a bear, as well as the mental effects of such extreme isolation.
I met my grandfather earlier.
Your grandfather? Here?
No, just up on the hill.
Where the film differs from reality is that their ordeal was even harder in real life. Take for instance the bear attack that occurs late in the film. While the movie shows Mikkelsen and Iversen scaring off the bear by making loud noises, in Mikkelsen's book he recounts how this attack saw the bear actually make its way into the hut, kicking up steam from a pan of water that had been boiling on the stove, and Iversen having to shoot it to death. In a stroke of luck, something that up until that point had been in short supply for both of them, they were discovered by a passing Norwegian ship on July 21st, 1912. They had been separated from any other human contact for almost 28 months. Despite the hardships they endured, some elements of their journey live on, such as the Alabama Cottage. The hut in which Mikkelsen and Iversen survived is still standing, and in 2016 was completely restored by the Northeast Greenland company Nanook for the North Greenland Museum. Bringing Mikkelsen's story to life has also been a passion project for Costa Waldau, who was sent a copy of the book by his close friend Peter Flint in 2011. He said about making the film, "It combines a lot of themes that excite me: adventure, Greenland, companionship, loyalty, and love." The actor also has a personal connection to Greenland. His wife, actor and singer Nukaka, is from the country. You can watch how Mikkelsen and Iversen's story unfolds in Against the Ice, streaming on Netflix now. And for more true stories behind your favorite shows and films, why not subscribe to Still Watching Netflix?